Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
Ronald Reuel Tolkien's The Fellowship of the Ring, published in 1954, transcends the mere categorization of fantasy literature. It is a profound exploration of archetypal narratives, linguistic innovation, and the enduring power of mythopoeia, significantly impacting subsequent literary and cultural landscapes. Delving into its depths reveals a masterful construction of a secondary world, imbued with intricate histories, invented languages, and moral complexities that continue to resonate with readers across generations. The genesis of the Fellowship of the Ring lies in Tolkien's lifelong fascination with language and mythology. His early academic work centered on philology, the study of language in historical sources, and Old English literature, particularly Beowulf. This background provided him with a deep understanding of narrative structures, ancient poetic forms, and the power of language to shape perception and cultural identity. Tolkien's experiences during the First World War profoundly contributed to the themes and motifs present in The Fellowship of the Ring. Witnessing the horrors of industrialized warfare instilled in him a deep sense of loss, a yearning for a simpler, pastoral past, and a concern about the destructive potential of unchecked technological advancement. These anxieties find expression in the contrast between the idyllic Shire and the encroaching shadows of Mordor, as well as in the corrupting influence of the One Ring itself. Prior to the Fellowship of the Ring, Tolkien had already established the foundations of his mythology through The Hobbit, published in 1937. While The Hobbit is a lighter, more children-oriented tale, it introduces essential elements of Middle-earth, including hobbits, dwarves, elves, and the One Ring. The Hobbit served as a testing ground for Tolkien's world-building, allowing him to refine his linguistic creations and develop the intricate history that would underpin The Lord of the Rings. The Silmarillion, though published posthumously, represents an even earlier stage in the development of Tolkien's mythology. This collection of myths and legends provides a comprehensive account of the creation of Middle-earth, the origins of the elves, and the history of the Rings of Power. The Silmarillion establishes the cosmological framework and the moral themes that are further explored in The Fellowship of the Ring. The Fellowship of the Ring itself commences with the hobbit Frodo Baggins inheriting the One Ring from his uncle Bilbo. Kendalf, the wizard, reveals the ring's true nature as an instrument of immense power forged by the Dark Lord Sauron. To prevent Sauron from reclaiming the ring and plunging Middle-earth into darkness, Frodo embarks on a perilous quest to destroy it in the fires of Mount Doom in Mordor. This quest forms the central narrative arc of the novel, driving the plot forward and uniting the diverse members of the Fellowship. The Fellowship consists of 9 companions: Frodo and his hobbit companions Sam, Merry, and Pippin, Gandalf, the wizard Aragorn, the heir to the throne of Gondor Legolas, the elf Gimli the dwarf, and Boromir, a warrior of Gondor. Each member brings unique skills, perspectives, and cultural backgrounds to the group, representing the diverse races and peoples of Middle-earth united in common cause. The journey of the Fellowship is fraught with peril. They encounter various enemies, including orcs, trolls, and the ringwraiths, spectral servants of Sauron. They navigate treacherous landscapes, facing physical challenges and moral dilemmas. The ring exerts a corrupting influence, testing the resolve of the companions and threatening to divide them. Tolkien's linguistic expertise is evident in the invented languages of Middle-earth, particularly Quenya and Sindarin, the languages of the elves. These languages are not mere decorative elements, they are integral to the world building, providing depth and authenticity to the cultures of the elves. Tolkien meticulously crafted the grammar, vocabulary, and history of these languages, ensuring that they were internally consistent and evocative. The languages also functioned thematically, reflecting the beauty, wisdom, and fading glory of the elfin race. The Fellowship of the Ring is infused with archetypal narratives and mythological motifs. The quest narrative, the hero's journey, and the battle between good and evil are all central to the story. Tolkien draws inspiration from a wide range of mythological sources, including Norse mythology, Celtic mythology, and Christian theology. The ring itself can be interpreted as a symbol of temptation, power, and the corrupting influence of evil. The journey to Mount Doom can be seen as an allegory for the spiritual journey, the struggle against temptation, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. Upon its publication, The Fellowship of the Ring received mixed reviews. While some critics praised Tolkien's imaginative world-building, his intricate plotting, and his masterful use of language, others dismissed the work as escapist fantasy, lacking in literary merit. Some critics found the prose to be archaic and tedious, the characters to be one-dimensional, and the moral themes to be simplistic. However, despite the initial mixed reception, The Fellowship of the Ring quickly gained a devoted following. Particularly among university students and young readers, word of mouth spread rapidly, and the book became a cult phenomenon. Readers were drawn to the immersive world, the compelling character, epic scope of the immediate impact of the Fellowship of the Ring was relatively modest in academic circles. Tolkien was already a respected scholar of Anglo-Saxon literature, but his foray into fantasy fiction was viewed with skepticism by some of his colleagues. However, the book did spark interest in the study of fantasy literature as a genre, paving the way for later academic analyses of Tolkien's work and its cultural significance. In broader cultural terms, The Fellowship of the Ring had a more immediate and profound impact. The book resonated with readers who were disillusioned with the modern world and yearned for a sense of community, purpose, and connection to nature. The themes of environmentalism, anti-industrialism, peace, and fellowship appealed to a generation that was questioning established norms and seeking alternative ways of life. The book also inspired a wave of creativity, influencing music, art, and other forms of popular culture. The later use and evolution of the Fellowship of the Ring and the Lord of the Rings trilogy as a whole have been enormous. The books have been translated into dozens of languages and have sold hundreds of millions of copies worldwide. They have been adapted into radio dramas, animated films, and, most famously, Peter Jackson's critically acclaimed and commercially successful film trilogy. The films brought Middle-earth to life for a new generation of viewers, further solidifying Tolkien's place as a literary icon. The Lord of the Rings has had a profound influence on the development of the fantasy genre. It established many of the conventions that are now common in fantasy literature, including the epic scope, the detailed world building, the diverse cast of characters, and the battle between good and evil. Authors such as Terry Brooks, George R. Martin, and Ursula K. Le Guin have all acknowledged Tolkien's influence on their work. The books have also inspired countless video games, board games, role-playing games, further expanding the reach of Tolkien's mythology. Critiques and revisions of The Fellowship of the Ring have continued since its publication. Some critics have focused on the perceived lack of female characters in the story, while others have questioned the racial and cultural stereotypes that are present in Middle-earth. Tolkien himself responded to some of these criticisms, acknowledging the limitations of his own perspective and the need for greater diversity in fantasy literature. Over time, interpretations of the Fellowship of the Ring have evolved, reflecting changing social and cultural values. Some readers have focused on the environmental themes of the book, while others have explored the psychological complexities of the characters and the moral ambiguities of the story. The book continues to be a source of debate and discussion, demonstrating its enduring relevance and its capacity to provoke new insights. The Fellowship of the Ring's direct influences stem from Tolkien's deep engagement with earlier literary and mythological traditions. Beowulf, with its epic scope, its heroic characters, and its exploration of themes of good and evil, was a major source of inspiration. Tolkien's academic work on Beowulf shaped his understanding of Anglo-Saxon culture and its values, which are reflected in the world of Middle-earth. Norse mythology, with its pantheon of gods, its tales of heroic adventure, and its apocalyptic vision of Ragnarok, also played a significant role. Tolkien drew inspiration from the Norse myths of creation, the stories of the Norse heroes, and the imagery of the Norse world. Celtic mythology, with its emphasis on nature, its magical creatures, and its sense of mystery, also contributed to the atmosphere of Middle-earth. Tolkien was familiar with the Celtic myths of Ireland and Wales and incorporated elements of Celtic folklore into his. The Fellowship of the Ring exerted a profound influence on subsequent works of literature, film, and gaming. The Chronicles of Narnia by C. Saul Lewis, though different in tone and theological emphasis, owes a clear debt to Tolkien's world building and his exploration of moral themes. Terry Brooks' The Sword of Shannara explicitly draws upon The Lord of the Rings, adapting many of its plot elements and character archetypes. George R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, while more complex and morally ambiguous than The Lord of the Rings, similarly features a vast, detailed world, a wide range of characters and epic battles for power. Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings film trilogy brought Tolkien's vision to a global audience, inspiring countless other fantasy films and television shows. Video games such as The Elder Scrolls and World of Warcraft owe a clear debt to Tolkien's world building and his creation of a fantasy universe with its own history, languages. In conclusion, The Fellowship of the Ring represents a landmark achievement in fantasy literature, demonstrating the power of mythopoeia, the importance of linguistic innovation, and the enduring appeal of archetypal narratives. Its influence on subsequent literature, film, and gaming is undeniable, solidifying its place as a cultural touchstone. The novel's exploration of themes such as good versus evil, the corrupting influence of power, the importance of fellowship, and the connection to nature continues to resonate with readers today, ensuring that the Fellowship of the Ring will remain a beloved and influential work for generations to come. The book serves as a testament to Tolkien's profound understanding of language, mythology, and the human condition, proving that fantasy literature can be both entertaining and deeply meaningful. The seemingly simple tale of hobbits and wizards embarking on a quest to destroy a ring conceals a complex and nuanced exploration of morality, power, and the nature of good and evil, inviting readers to contemplate the deeper questions about themselves and the world around them.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.